So you think you're a leader, or you consider yourself a leader, or you're even trying to become a leader, or you're even considering whether the person that you consider a leader is actually a leader. Well, stay to the end of this video because I'm sure that this will add value to you and give you a perspective that would be good for you to understand. Now, what and who is a leader? Now, a leader is somebody who leads people. It's in the name. You're leading people, you're leading organization, you're leading companies, society, whatever. But there's a distinction you have to understand. There are people who are leaders and there's people who are in leadership positions. Now, those are two different people. Now, people who are leaders and people who are people in leadership position, there's a distinct difference in terms of how people respond in terms of the people that they are considered to be leading. Now, people who are considered leaders, or people who are leaders instead of who are considered leaders, people who are leaders are people who have authority. Whereas people who are in leadership positions are typically people who have power. And so a leader is not, it's not measured by the amount of power that he has, but the amount of authority that he has in terms of influence. How do you influence the people that you are leading, and how do you actually take care of the people you're leading? Most times when it comes to leaders who have authority, it comes in a point of where there's more respect. It's more, these are people that don't have to have money, but their word is gold and they ask you to do something. These guys could have you working for free if they needed to. But because you trust their vision and their command and their leadership, you follow them and you trust their words. Whereas the person who's in a leadership position, as opposed to commanding you with respect because you've given them respect, they're commanding you with fear. And they're commanding you in terms of that they have power over you. So you more respond in the aspect of fear. But you wouldn't go around with pride in your chest to say, that's my leader. For example, you look at some, I'm Nigerian. You look at some African countries, you look at them, you see them in a dictatorship situation. Now that's power there. That's not authority. They weren't given authority by the people saying, we want you to lead. Or, voting was messed up in one kind of way and they gained power. Now, people who are in power positions focus on increasing their power and increasing it in that sense. And, whether it's increasing the military, increasing, putting more tariffs, just making people's lives harder so that out of fear, they will respond to anything you say. And then they'll respond to anything you do. And in that sense, you might interpret that as some twisted form of respect. No, it's power. And typically people, human beings, don't get it twisted. I know you might think that you would do something different in the same position, but you have to be diligent to be able to do that. Human beings, if you look at the Stanford experiment, when we're given power, we crave more power. And most times when absolute power corrupts absolutely and we tend to abuse our power, that isn't a leader. Now, a leader, in a different sense, focuses on increasing their authority. In the matter, increasing their authority based on trust, increasing their authority based on their judgment, that you understand that what they're going to say or do or try to do or attempt to do is going to be in your best interest. Now, if you look at all the people that you in your life that you consider leaders. Now, leaders don't always have to be, talked about in terms of leaders. Some of them might be a mentor in terms of leading you. As a mentor, might be a coach, might be a youth organizer, might be a principal, might be a teacher, might be anybody, might be your parents. They're leaders in their own right, but not all of them are leaders. Some of them are leaders in the sense of the true word of being a leader, is that they have authority over you, and as a virtue of respect and them increasing the authority over you by displaying things that you should believe in because they are a leader. It's a give or take. Leaders need followers, followers need leaders, and they mix match. A good leader has to understand. A great leader has to be able to be a good follower. A great follower also has to be, in certain aspects, a good leader. It's a give or take. But when you look at those relationships that you have, some of them are leaders. Now, some of them are people in leadership positions. They have increased their power over you, and because of power dynamics, they're going to continue to increase, whether it's making your life hell, putting restrictions because they feel that they're losing their power over you. And, if you look at work, for example, there's some people that you might work under that you would continue working under by virtue of them being a manager. They might work you over, whatever, but by the way they treat you and by the way they lead you, you would be happy to stay in that organization on less money purely because of the person in that position. Whereas if it's in a situation where it's the alternative, where it's somebody in a leadership position but it's holding you based on the power that they have, then you're typically trying to survive, get your own, get out. You don't like them, so when you get the money, you go. That's the first thing. People stay in jobs in life, maybe stopping their earning potential just for the fact that they're under good leadership. They see the ship, they know where it's going, and it's like, Captain, I'm putting up the sail, let's soar. So, what's the point of this video? It's about you understanding that if you're trying to be a leader, you need to understand that your main aim is to increase your authority. And within that will come respect. And in increasing your authority, you will in turn increase your power. But increasing your power will not increase your authority. It will increase your power over people to enforce decisions, and by bound of fear, they will listen to you. But that's not because of that they've given you authority over them. But in terms of increasing your authority, don't get twisted, there's a place for power. There's a place, obviously. If you look at the leader of a country, you get president. He'll be the president and the commander-in-chief. The president is the leader point of view, but when it comes to commander-in-chief warfare, all that kind of things, you want to talk about power dynamics. But you have to understand, if you're a good president and you increase your authority, again, you increase your power. You see in situations where people are led by a certain president or whatever that majority of the population within that country enjoys and is happy, you're not just going to be able to oust them anyhow. Even if you look at organizations, you look at the Martin Luther Kings of the world, you look at Gandhi, you look at all of them, they were leaders. They didn't have the most money, they weren't the richest people, they didn't increase their power and that virtue, but by virtue of being a leader and also proving themselves as leaders, having the best interests of the people that they were leading, then people are ready to ride or die for them. For some of you, like if you look at your own families, your parents, if they tell you A, B, C, you're ready to believe. Dad said that. If dad or mom said that's not a good play, you believe them. If your big brother or big sister said that's not a good play, you believe them because they're a leader. But there's some of you that, if they say it, you're doing it more because they've told you, but because of the power they have over you. So the key here thing is that if you want to be a good leader, if you want to be a great leader, aim at increasing your authority. That comes by demonstrating that you understand your people, increasing your EQ and your IQ, understanding that you're not the best at anything, but utilizing your people to the best of their abilities, and understanding your shortfalls, but being able to overcome that, and understanding that you're looking out for the common goal of the group. And that's the main thing that people will understand, and people will raise their eyes towards you, that you have a direction, you have a vision, you know where you're trying to go, and that with that they want to jump on board with you. If you try to be a bad leader in the sense of you're just trying to increase your power, your status, in terms of having influence over people by virtue of them being desperate or fearing or trying to get something out of you, then typically you might have to watch your back, because that's not a kind of a healthy relationship. That's toxic, because you're using power dynamics over people to get what you want, and that's not you being a leader. That's you just manipulating and exploiting the situation. And that's the reason why dictators always have an eye at the back of their head, because most times it's the people around them that they've, friends and whatever, that end up coming to stab them in the back, because they were there out of fear, not out of respect. So we all collectively will aim to help create the best leaders of the future, and you may be the one to end up changing my life or the people's lives around you. So aim to be the best leader, and watch me respect you and hopefully increase your authority in this game. So enjoy, guys. Have a lovely day. Understand that we as a society create our leaders, and at the same time we as a society also create the people who go into the leadership positions. So we have to be diligent enough to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves and before we wreck other people, because everyone's looking for something to follow. And if you're going to be a leader, then you also need to know where you're going, so people know where they're following you to. Get a GPS charged, and have a blessed day, guys.